On Target Institute presents a teaching from the Men on Target small group curriculum. Now with today's session, On Target founder Vince D'Acchioli.
Hello, man. How you doing? Welcome to Session 28, Facing Trials Part 4. This is the last session of the 4 sessions that I think I mentioned up front were some of the most profound things that we've ever discovered and learned while going through some serious trials in our life. And I hope these things have been blessing you as we move forward. Again, I want to remind you to go to otm.co and please download the handout materials. Let's begin with what we've been beginning all these sessions with, and I love this. Again, only God can turn a mess into a message. I think you've seen some of the things that have happened in my life and how He's turned all this stuff around into a powerful message. I hope it's blessing you. A test into a testimony. Obviously, we have a testimony that God has given us as a result of this, and you know what? We all do, guys, in our own lives. A trial into a triumph. There is a triumph here, but you know what? Even people have asked me, had God taken Cindy? Would your message have changed? And I would say no. To me, it's still a triumph. The triumph has to do with something much bigger than the circumstances that we face at times. And then a victim into a victor. And let me tell you guys, I was a victim. I really was whining, and I felt like that, you know, the world was against me, but God turned that whole thing around. Now, let's do a quick review of the 6 things we talked about. The way this came about is I was on an airplane one day and I was writing down with tears all the things that God had been showing me. I was reviewing all the emails we sent out to all of our followers about the trials and the struggles. I had about 30 different things that God showed me that He dealt with me regarding. And I said, Lord, I know most of these things You're dealing with me about, but is there anything in the midst of these 30 or 40 things that You're teaching me that You believe You want me to speak publicly about? And guys, when I distilled it all down, these were the 6 things that God showed me I needed to talk to you about. And again, here they are. In the midst of your trial, are you believing and are you expecting? Do you have a thankful heart in the midst of your struggle? Are you thanking God for the blessings in your life, or are you just whining about the circumstances you're facing? And are you letting go? Are you trying to fix it, or are you at a place where you understand it is God's job to do that? Are you letting go? Then, have you come to the end of yourself? This is incredibly important. This has to do with humility, and this is what God is really looking for in us. And guys, I want to tell you something. Trials have a way of bringing that about if you let them, if you bend into God in the midst of them. And have you asked God to show you your lesson? Lord, in the midst of what I'm going through right now, what do You want to reveal to me that You're trying to teach me? Please don't let me miss it. And then finally, are you watching for the simple, or are you looking for miracles to be huge and big when God is trying to reveal stuff that's all around you? Now, what are the takeaways from all of this? I want to draw your attention to some verses found in 2 Kings, verses 14 to 16. Leading up to verse 14, you remember the story. Sennacherib was telling Hezekiah that he was coming to destroy him and his nation. And Sennacherib was kind of threatening him and saying, Hezekiah, there's no way you're going to survive. I am going to destroy you. Look at all the other nations that are around you, Hezekiah. They all went to their gods. Did their God save them? What makes you think your God is going to save you, Hezekiah? Hezekiah was hearing that. And here is what happens. Beginning in 2 Kings 19, verses 14 to 16, it says this. Hezekiah now receives a letter from Sennacherib. He received the letter from the messengers and he read it. The letter had all of those threats and all the data. The letter was, these are the facts. This is what happened. This is what's going to happen to you, Hezekiah. I had the same thing happen to me. That those MRIs, those CT scans, all of the evidence the doctor was laying before me was kind of like that letter. Here's the data, Vince. Here's what this reveals. As a result of that, here is what's about to happen. That's what happened with Hezekiah. But what did Hezekiah do? It says, then he took the letter, he went up to the temple of the Lord. And by the way, guys, we don't have to go to a physical temple anymore, do we? The temple is right here. So wherever we bow before God, that's where our altar is. He went up to the temple of the Lord, spread it out before him. I love that. And Hezekiah prayed to the Lord, O Lord God of Israel, enthroned between the cherubim, you alone are God over all the kingdoms of the earth. You have made heaven and you have made earth. Give ear, O Lord, and hear. Open your eyes, O Lord, and see. Listen to the words Sennacherib has sent to insult the living God. Well, that's what I did. I took all of the data and I took all that stuff and I arranged it before God and I said, Lord, this is what the doctors are saying. But I know, Lord, that you have the ultimate say in all of this. I just give all of this to you. And guys, it wasn't long after that. We had people coming in and praying for Cindy, and she was miraculously healed. I mean, she has no instruments. She has no oxygen needs, nothing. God miraculously saved her. In the midst of her struggle, though, she was in a coma most of the time. We asked her one time, Cindy, in the middle of your experience, while you were in a coma, do you have any recollection of any kind of profound experience with the Lord? Do you remember hearing him? And she began to weep. And there were just about 3 or 4 of us in the room when we asked her this question, and she said, yes, I believe he was sharing some things with me, and she was shaking, and she had written some things down. And this is what she has. This was like Cindy's word with regard to those of us who lead or pastor. She made it very clear. I believe God was giving me a message for those of you who are in leadership or who are pastoring. Clearly, that was meant for me and others that I know who are in leadership. Here is what she believed God said. This is very important, guys. He said, I am not impressed with your works, books, your ministries, or your positions. You are. You are trying to impress each other instead of me. I'm tired of your pride and your arrogance. You have generations of young people, kids who do not know me. Then the Lord directed us not long after that to a passage found in Amos 5. Listen to what it says. Away with your hymns of praise. They are only noise to my ears. I will not listen to your music, no matter how lovely it is. Instead, I want to see a mighty flood of justice, a river of righteous living that will never run dry. That is what God is trying to communicate to us, guys. We need to get this. Now, as I conclude, let me share what I have discovered is the secret to life. And guys, you got to get this. This was a defining moment for me as God began to reveal this to me. This is truly the secret to life. Here we go. You're going to think it's a magic trick, but you got to watch closely, okay? There they are. What's that? My circumstances. They're right there. They won't go away. They're defining me as a man. I can't get to sleep at night. I'm popping pills because they will not leave me alone. I don't know what your circumstances are. Perhaps there's something that could be illustrated by that ring that's on my finger. Perhaps it's a relationship of some kind. It's a financial issue. Maybe it's a spiritual issue. Maybe you're struggling with something physically. I don't know what your circumstances are, but there they are. They're right in front of you. They won't go away. Where's God? Oh, he's out there. I see him. Oh, God, I learn about God on Sunday. Pastor tells me about God. But look what's happening here, guys. I see God out there, but what lens am I looking through? I'm looking through the lens of my circumstances. If I'm having a tough time, God's looking a little fuzzy to me. Now watch this. Watch closely. This is the secret to life. Are you watching? Here we go. Huh? No. Some of you didn't see that. I got to do it again. Now watch closely, okay? Get this. Here we go. You ready? You're supposed to go, ooh. Well, you don't really have to do that. Now, watch what's happening here. Did my circumstances go away? No. But what lens am I looking through now? Through God's lens. Do you think they might look a little different? You bet they do. Watch, guys. 2 things are happening here. Not only do they look different to me, but watch. Those same circumstances can't get to me without going through my Lord, because I choose to put him here. Guys, we've already talked about how you get God between you and your circumstances in prior sessions. Okay, so if I have to teach you that, then something is fundamentally wrong. But the idea here is you're never going to succeed unless you put God between you and your circumstances. Listen, will He let some of these struggles get through? You bet. But you can be assured if God's there, that whatever He lets through is good, it's intended, He will use it to grow you. The secret to life. Okay? Now, what is life implication? Victory can only come as I lay my struggles at His feet and choose to place Him between me and my circumstances. Let me repeat that. As I lay my struggles at His feet, I choose every day to put Him between me and whatever I'm going to encounter. I told you this before, guys. Every morning now I wake up, the first thing I say is, "Good morning, Lord." I don't know what's going to happen today, but I choose to put you. Someone once said, if God's your co-pilot, you may want to change seats. God needs to be in control. He needs to be in front. Life application? Well, here's what I want you to do. Number one, how am I doing at bringing my struggles before God? That's question number one. How am I doing at bringing my struggles before God? And then number two, how difficult is it for me to apply the secret to life? Do you have difficulty putting God between you and your circumstances? Because if you do, I can tell you right now, your circumstances are managing you. You're not managing it, but you're trying to manage them. And guys, don't do that. It will beat you up. It will destroy you. Let God be the Lord of your circumstances in every way. I hope these messages have blessed you, men. I can't wait to get into these next sessions with you. But listen, we're going to be talking in the next series about a man and his. We're going to start with a man and his wife and his children and his legacy. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful series that's going to go on for some time. But please, please go back through this material and pray about what God is revealing to you in the midst of your trial. And until next time, don't forget about it. Thank you.